Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another video. And to start it off, I want to first begin by apologizing to you guys. And one thing I want to say that you'll always get from me is I'll never have an ego. You know, if I'm wrong, I will always admit that I'm wrong. And I will try to correct my mistake before it's too late, unlike many other YouTubers, right? And so I am here right now to correct a mistake that I made. And I want to correct this mistake now before it's too late. You know, I think that's the right thing to do. And so originally I said I think Tesla is a buy in the 700s. But then I made a video because Tesla sat in the 800s for a while and it just wouldn't go to the 700s. And here's the honest truth. I did buy some in the 800s, but when I look back on it, I was being impatient. And I apologize for that. So if anybody ended up buying Tesla, which, don't follow what I do. You know, obviously do your own research and make your own decisions. But obviously I also recognize the fact that when I say I'm going to buy something, there is a possibility somebody might do it. And so I believe in responsibility. You know, you shouldn't do that, but you got to take responsibility, right? So, yeah, apologize for that. And I was impatient because I waited maybe a week or so and Tesla just wouldn't go to the 700s and I want to buy it. And so I bought an 800s. I just want to come out and say that was a mistake. The reason why that was a mistake is because, and I know some of the people who follow me are Tesla mega bulls and they're probably going to get angry, but you know, I don't care. I tell the truth. You know, I'm not a Tesla bear. I love Tesla. Tesla is one of my largest holdings in my portfolio. And in my niece's custodial account, she literally has a VTI index fund and Tesla. Like, that's how much I love it. I even put in her portfolio because I think 10, 20 years from now, it'll be a big deal. So anyway, the reason why I wanted to say that is because I want to give you guys the honest to God truth. And what I will say is pay close attention to the stocks that haven't fallen like ridiculously yet. And there are still some stocks in the market. We've pretty much seen every single stock come down huge. However, there are still some stocks in the market that have not had that major pullback that every other stock has had. And ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that Tesla is one of them. And so what I want to say is I made a mistake by buying an 800s. I wasn't patient and I need to learn from that. In time, Tesla is eventually going to fall. And I know some people don't want to hear that. I know there's some people, I'm sure none of you guys who subscribed to me did that, but I know there are a bunch of retail investors who bought Tesla at 1,000 because they listen to all the Tesla mega bulls. And, you know, they think Tesla's just going to go to the freaking moon and to a million. But I try to be realistic. I think in the long term, Tesla will go crazy. You know, it'll do very well. I really do. I expect a very nice return. I honestly do expect at least a 100% return from Tesla within at least the next 3 to 5 years. That's the God honest truth. And that's actually a kind of short term compared to overall my long term investments. Because honestly, when I invest, I really invest for life. Like most of the stocks that I hold, I plan to hold for life, if not for the next 30, 40, 50 years, to be completely honest with you. And I'm only 27, right? But with Tesla, you know, just think about it. Did you ever think that Amazon would fall the way that it has? Like, you've seen some huge mega cap stocks that were at one time considered the safety stocks essentially trade like AMC, you know, essentially trade like a freaking meme stock or a cryptocurrency. You have seen it. And the reason why you're seeing this is because obviously not only are we in a bear market, but it's a mixture of things. A lot of stocks were overvalued. A lot of stocks benefited from stay at home. And we're also in a bear market. And we're in a situation where anything that misses on earnings gets punished. And so I don't know if Tesla's ever going to miss earnings. I don't know if Tesla will ever go to the 700s or 500s. But what I'm here to tell you guys is don't be surprised if Tesla falls. I think it could happen. Because Tesla's one of the last surviving stocks that hasn't fallen yet. And I think it's only a matter of time. And then again, this isn't a bearish video. I love Tesla. I just want to be realistic, guys. You know, I'm not a bull or a bear. I'm just a freaking investor. I just try to be freaking realistic, you know? And I think Tesla's day could come. It might not be Q2. It might not be Q3. It might be Q4. It might be next year. I don't know. It could be next week. You know, you just never know. But one thing I can tell you is there's no doubt. You can't even deny it. that Tesla is overvalued. You can't deny it. Now, I have justified it before that because Tesla has smashed earnings so well, and that you can even argue that Tesla actually had the best earnings out of every company, that the valuation makes sense. But even if the valuation makes sense in your mind, which to me, I understand why so many people are in it. It's a mixture of the company being great, and you have a bunch of YouTube people in retail, and Tesla is kind of a mixture of everything. Tesla is both a great company, like a legit great blue chip company, but it's also a momentum stock, a meme stock, a YouTube stock, and a cult stock all in one. So it kind of makes sense why Tesla is so, why it swings like that, like you could have literally bought Tesla in $700 like maybe a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, and you would have gotten a 40% return on your money because it literally ran at like 1100. Like, it was crazy. But anyway, what I want to say is, guys, I would pay attention to the stocks that still haven't come down yet. Now, obviously, people are going to say, well, where does that leave Apple and Microsoft, right? Well, if you want my honest opinion, of course they could come down, but I don't really see it happening. I really don't. I don't see it having a Amazon-like drop. I think those are just such great companies. And I don't think they ran up because of the pandemic the way Amazon did. I think everybody remembers in 2020, Amazon literally went from like $1,000 to like $3,000. It was actually pretty incredible, but I remember it. It literally happened in 2020. I was like, holy freaking cow, Amazon. And now we're finally starting to see some capitulation here, right? And so obviously, I guess you could kind of argue that Microsoft has actually fallen pretty significantly. But either way, Apple and Microsoft are like index funds for me, right? It is a supreme long-term hold. I'm talking Apple and Microsoft are like 50-year holds for me. So honestly, I don't have an issue dollar cost averaging into these stocks, even if they dip, right? But I just want to at least give you this warning, guys, because I don't want to be the guy that has such an ego. I don't want to admit when I'm wrong and not come out and tell you guys and warn you. And then Tesla drops and folks are mad at me like, I thought you were buying at 800. So I just want to bring it out, make it plain and clear. I should have never told you guys that I was buying Tesla at 800, even though I did. I bought Tesla at like 887 or 86, whatever it was, something like that. And I only bought a little bit. Obviously, my average cost is still low. My average cost is still in the 700s. So that's cool. But I think the 700s is a little bit of a nibble. I'm going to stick with that. And I think if it were to fall to 500 or lower, which I know it sounds crazy, but look at Amazon. If there's anything this market has taught you is anything can fall. So if Tesla were to go to 500s, I think that's really the place where you really want to significantly start adding a large position in the company, But 700s just in case, because it might not ever go to 500. I mean, this thing is a supreme momentum stock, to be honest. I mean, honestly, you could actually argue that Tesla is more of a momentum stock than AMC and GameStop, to be honest with you. I mean, not only does retail, for some reason, hold this stock, but no matter what happens to Tesla, retail continues to like retail never sells Tesla. It's actually pretty remarkable. I've seen it. I've seen people like say my average cost is $1,000 and Tesla will be at 700 and they don't care. Like Tesla is actually, I would argue, more of a cult stock than GME and AMC. I would honestly argue that. And it's not a knock to Tesla. It's a phenomenal company and I love it and absolutely love it. But I just want to be realistic with you guys. Now, the other thing I want to say is, and I know I'll talk for a while, I'm sorry about that, but there's this guy who commented on my channel, and he said, LOL, consistently buying the dip religiously just like me, Kevin, used to preach. And there have been some other comments I've been getting of people who've been saying, you keep telling everybody that you should be buying and buying and buying, but we're in a bear market and stocks are going to go lower, and you're an idiot, and you're acting like me, Kevin. And here's my response to that. The people who call me an idiot for doing that are actually the real idiots, because the way that you actually build wealth is by dollar cost averaging for the long term. That's actually how you build wealth. When you get into this thing of telling your followers to buy the dip in a bear market, you should wait 9 months. That's essentially timing the market. You're assuming that the market will be better for you to buy in 9 months, but you can't make that assumption because you cannot time the market. You can't predict any of this stuff. It's important to pay attention to what's going on. Don't get me wrong. Tracking inflation in the Fed and stuff is important, but I still think you should stick to the plan of every 2 weeks or whenever you get paid, putting just a little bit of money in stocks. And I think this is where people get lost. I think people think that when I'm buying the dip, I'm pulling a Meet Kevin and I'm putting freaking $500,000 into this stock or $1 million into this stock. Like, you don't put all your money in a stock at once. What you do is every 2 weeks, you put some cash to work every week. And that's what I do. And thank God I live below my means. So I pretty much just get extra free cash flow because I live significantly below my means, like significantly. Like I live like I'm freaking broke, and I love it because it gives me all this extra money to invest and do things with. And every 2 weeks I buy stocks anyway. I think I've said that plenty of times. I have this actual automatic rule in my accounts where every time I get a paycheck, freaking Fidelity and my 401k, well, my 401k with my job automatically takes money out of my account and puts it into, investments. And then my Fidelity does the same thing. Every whatever time of the month, it automatically withdraws money from my account and it puts it into there. And then I take that money and then I just go ahead and just deploy it to index funds. And that's just something that I do every paycheck. Now, whatever other play money I get or whatever, that's the stuff that I typically put to individual stocks. But overall, regardless of what the market is doing, I'm not just going to sit on a pile of cash. Like, I would rather put my money to work. So every 2 weeks, I'm always dollar cost averaging in the index funds and putting money in there. And I'll never apologize for that because that's honestly, in my opinion, the best way to build wealth. So to the people who are saying you're buying a falling knife or you're just buying into a bear market or you're an idiot because you're consistently buying the dip, well, I think you guys are having a short-term mindset because if you look at the stock market, it's very resilient. And plenty of data and statistics show that buying the dip on the overall market is actually a smart idea. And I'm not investing for the next 6 to 9 months. I am investing for the next 60 years, essentially, because I'm only 27. So I think for me to be 27 years old and have a horizon of like 50, 60 years, I think buying at these prices is incredibly intelligent because there's no telling how high the stock market will be in 50, 60 years. But one thing I can tell you is it'll definitely 100% for sure be much higher. And so I think that's a good idea. I think that's the way to go. So hopefully that helped you guys. That's the best thing I can say. Every single time you get a paycheck, it should always go into the market. And it should always go to index funds first. And if you want to play around and mess around with individual stocks, you can do that too. But I always recommend index funds to be number one because index funds are pretty much a guaranteed return over the long term. You're guaranteed to get a return on your money over the long term. And that's why I love index funds. And I like VTI and VOO because they have such a tiny expense ratio. People got to keep that in mind. Some of these index funds charge you money for holding money in there. VTI and VOOs is super duper low at 0.03%, I think, every year. So really cool. Really, really cool. So yeah, there you guys have it. That'll go and conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.